everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Plays Games, the podcast where we celebrate women in the video games industry. I'm your host, Lauren, and I've been working as a journalist and content creator in the games industry for the last 10 years. On my show, I have a chat with women of many different roles within the games industry, whether it's journalism, games development, or even streaming. My goal is to give visibility to the many women in video games with hopes to inspire a new generation of women in gaming. For today's episode, my guest is Ginaé Watkins. Mia works for PlayStation as a community outreach specialist and has been working with PlayStation for over 4 years. Having found a passion for video editing during her time at school, Mia was able to find a role within the video game industry that suited her skills, and with the support of her peers, has been able to craft it into something very unique. I really hope you enjoy Mia's story, and if you do, please be sure to subscribe on your chosen platform. This is episode 32 of She Plays Games. Welcome to the show, Mia. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. I'm excited to be here.
So, starting right off, you work as a community outreach specialist at PlayStation, which sounds like such an amazing position. But I want to focus more on how you got to where you are now, as opposed to what you are doing now. Starting off, I know that you went to Elon University in North Carolina, which is gorgeous, by the way. I've been to North Carolina and the scenery there. Oh, it is amazing.
So
were you close to the shore, or where is Elon based in North Carolina?
So, unfortunately, Elon is not close to the shore, but it's surrounded by beautiful, greenery. You're about almost in the center of the state. You're about 1 hour from Raleigh, Durham, and then 30 minutes away from Greensboro. And I really miss being there around this time of year in the fall, because all the oak trees that we have on campus start to change colors, and then the leaves fall, and you're walking to class and the leaves are falling, and it just looks so idyllic, and you get that crisp fall air. I live in San Diego now, so the same
not so
experience.
Much.
Yeah.
No, not so much. It's such a shame. But no, I totally know what you mean, because I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so we got the same kind of thing. We have the trees and all that crisp fallness, and I love that. And North Carolina kind of has it all. It's gorgeous. I do love San Diego. I love California, but there is something about a fall time in the woodlands. It's amazing.
I have been to the Wilmington area, so I have done the spring break trip where we drove to the coast, and it was beautiful. Sorry. But it's very, very gorgeous place. There's this great little town that my friends I went to, I think our sophomore year, and we found one of those bookstores that had the cat. There's always a bookstore with a cat in it, and that makes it the best bookstore. You're not even there for the books; you're just there for the cat.
Yeah. Literature, honestly, who needs it? Oh, but that's amazing. And while you were there, you were studying arts, cinema, and television arts. And it sounds like quite a broad sort of subject. Did you always have the intention to enter the games industry, and were video games covered as an entertainment medium during your course?
So games has always been what I call a lucky wrench in my plans. When I went to Elon, I was set on studying journalism. I was going to be a journalist. But before I went to college, I would spend my summers in high school editing videos. I would edit AMVs and GMVs, or anime music videos or game music videos. And I learned how to edit and develop my skills through those videos. And I would also do short films with like my brother and some of my friends back in, I'm originally from St. Louis. I know it's a lot on the map. I'm from St. Louis, then I go to Elon, North Carolina, and then I go to San Diego.
You've covered it all.
Coast
You've
to
covered
coast.
it all. Yeah.
But I did a lot of journalism programs when I was in high school, and so I was going to be, I was set on being the next big CNN anchor. But then I got to college and I joined the cinema group, and I was like, you know what, this is way more fun, and I do this anyway, and I would rather do this and learn how to make stuff up professionally for fun. And I switched my major and freshman year, my parents flipped. They're like, wait, what are you doing? What happened to journalism? I was like, well, I kind of want to go into film now. They're like, what? And so
we had a plan. We told everybody.
But it was really fun. And, I learned a lot of, skills and like how to produce and direct and how to write and format a screenplay. Tidbits I was already doing on my own back at home, but I didn't know like the term or the name for it. So it was really awesome getting the education and knowing other students who were interested in the same things. And it was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time editing and creating and writing my own projects outside of class. Just trippy stuff. I made a lot of weird stuff that is out there in the ether.
But I love it. It's like those old AMVs that you're just kind of like, this is of a ship that I used to like when I was like 14. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. My old YouTube channel is still out there, and I don't talk about it much now, but it served its purpose.
Yeah.
But when I got to college, I practically live in the editing suites. Like if you knew me, you knew where to find me. Like one time, my dad was coming to visit, and I forgot to meet up with him because I was also an editing lab assistant in the suites, and I was there one night, and one of my friends comes down with my dad. I'm like, how did you guys find each other? And they're like, yeah, this is where Mia usually is.
Yeah. By the way.
Yeah. If she's lost, if you don't know where she is, if she's not picking up her phone, she's probably in a place with no service, which is probably the editing suites.
You just don't even need to pay for room and board anymore. I'm just gonna stay here.
Pretty much, at times I lived there. I would sleep there. I would do homework there, get ready for class there. At times, I developed this one skill which I do not recommend to anyone, called sleep editing, where I would be so tired, but like my eyes would close, but my hands are still like moving the clips around, and I'm like editing in a daze, and it's the scariest thing.
It's so hard to edit when you're sleepy though. Like for me, I can't. Like if I'm starting to go, everything blurs.
You have to shut it down. Like, all right, we're saving this.
I know.
Shutting down. But yeah, it was a really great experience. I had a lot of amazing professors, and even though I wasn't a journalism major, I still interacted with the journalism professors, and they've become my dear friends today. And I learned a lot. I learned one of the biggest lessons I learned from film was how to take rejection and how to bounce back. So one of my professors encouraged me to submit to film festivals. And that is a great education because you will pay for a fee, you will pay for your film to be shown somewhere or to be entered in a contest. Most of the time, it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does. And you have to understand, I had to be okay with not getting my money back when it didn't work out. I was like, oh, okay, so
yeah,
it's gone. But it really toughens you up, especially as a creative. Like, you're going to have a lot of people with a lot of opinions and saying a lot of stuff and saying that you should do this, you should do that, but you have to learn you have to have the strength and courage within yourself to be able to pick yourself back up again if you get knocked down, and to keep going and to keep doing what you want to do, and to learn from all those experiences.
I think that's definitely something that like film and I did acting in university and like those kind of careers. I think like if you are struggling with having a like with thickening up your skin, like that is just where you learn how to get constructive criticism and just try your hardest not to crumble and keep going, you know?
Absolutely. And so to answer your, I kind of lost track there with the question, but
That's cool.
but I didn't take any video game courses. I'm not sure if I I don't think there were any when I was there. There might be some now, but when I was there, like video games wasn't even in the picture. I was just a gamer. Like I loved, I grew up playing video games. But like I was just very fortunate that my film and video editing skills actually helped me get my foot in the door in the gaming industry.
So what made you just think, did you just like see a job listing for PlayStation? Like, did you just submit like reel or something or?
So PlayStation has a wonderful internship program. And so when I graduated a semester early, and so my in the fall, so my spring semester, quote unquote, was at home applying for jobs. And the previous year, I saw that PlayStation had internships, and I was like, oh, like that would be really great to do that. But I think I missed the deadline, so I made it my intent to apply next year, and I did. And when I graduated college, I was applying for like 60 plus jobs when I was at home. And in the film world, I was thinking of going to LA. I had a thought of going to the
Yeah.
UK and doing my film career there. And then it boiled down to two decisions, I'll call it. I was torn between being a videographer for a cruise line or being a video editor for video games. And I said, you know what? I love travel, but I really love video games, so I'm going to take that route.
Yeah. And that's like amazing, like to just, because I think it's so hard sometimes to look at the other aspects of like careers in video games because you think like video games, okay, I need to be good at coding, or I have to be an artist, or I have to be a composer, but like there's also these other jobs that are just as valid and can be transferred from other careers like video editing, like frigging PlayStation. They need a video editor, like, you know, like
Yeah.
those beautiful trailers and in-game sequences, they don't just appear out of thin air. They're not like, whoo, here they are. Like they need people
Yeah.
like you to help make them. So yeah, it's just it's amazing to think that like that you're there. It's just great. And I mean, there are, as you said, like there's some like universities that are cropping up now that have like video game programs and degrees, but they're often focused around creation. Do you think that maybe because of the route you took, you approach things from a different angle in comparison to people who may have had like video games like focus, you know?
Yeah, so I think when I think about it, I think so, and at the same time, I think that when you are editing video, you have to be flexible. You have to understand that maybe what you create, maybe that's not the finishing product. You have to sometimes, as I call it, like edit your baby sometimes,
Yeah.
which isn't always fun. But I definitely feel like it definitely made me take an approach on learning that, especially the projects that I did work on. When I was in that role, I had to edit different types of projects, and they each had their own different type of workflow. And so you really have to, the way I saw it, like develop those skills to be able to switch gears, even though you're doing the same task, but you have to switch gears on how you do that task.
Yeah. I guess like in terms of like feel and stuff, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because like not every game is the same.
Yeah, like if maybe one client wants this product or this project edited this way, and another client has a whole different approach of doing it, or maybe it's a hybrid approach, and yeah, it took a bit of time to learn those approaches and those different workflows, but I feel like that also helps you a whole lot in not being so set in stone of where you are. And for me, like when I was editing like AMVs and GMVs, like that kind of, they taught me the same thing too, because you are creating this thing. And I used to get stuck on a video. Like I would edit like at least 1 minute into the video and it would be great, and then I'd be like, okay, well, I have no idea how to approach like the rest of this song I want to edit.
Yeah. The rest of the song just doesn't exist. Right? I'm sorry. It's gone.
There was one video where I didn't come back to it until about like 2-3 years later. And I finally finished it, but I had to just sort of think like, like how do I better myself? How do I spice up this video a little bit? I had an internship in 2014 at a record company, and I was a video production intern there. And I had a really great supervisor, and he really pushed me to do all these trippy edits. And he had this project for me. It was about 30 seconds to a minute, and he just wanted to see what I could do. And so I put something together. I wasn't really feeling it, and he wasn't feeling it either. And he said, you know what? I know you can do better. And I said, all right, cool. So I tripped the heck out of that edit. And then he said, oh, this is awesome. Well, now you're in trouble because now you have to beat yourself. And I've always taken that piece of advice with me when it comes to like bettering myself, and especially like not being set in my ways sometimes. Like if something just okay, like I always hear him going like, I know you can do better. And as soon as I do better, he goes, okay, now you got to beat yourself. Now you got to focus on that. And so I definitely feel like because of my background, it has definitely given me a different perspective in the gaming industry. Like for me, like I've had to learn in my life within editing and video games and outside of those things to learn how to be flexible. And for me personally, I'm a very, I plan things. I'm like, look, we're doing this, and this. Like we can leave some room for magic, but not too much magic. And being flexible really helps you not go crazy. And really helps, like, look, like sometimes you got to step back and take a deep breath and be like, all right, like this is the problem that we have now. How are we going to tackle it? Or what's a different way we can tackle it? How can we work around it? How can we get through it? Who can we talk to? Who can help us? What is something that we haven't thought of before? Who is a person that we haven't thought to contact before to help us with this issue? So yeah, it definitely has given me a different perspective, I believe. Yeah.
I mean, like it's so true to compare like your work to babies, because I feel like when you've sort of put yourself into your video editing, like you have, like when you go into a project, don't you have an idea, you always get an idea of what you want. But if that what you want doesn't necessarily completely align with what the director, the person who's in charge feels, you almost feel like it's hard not to feel like it's a personal attack, because it's not, but you're also just kind of like, I put my heart and soul into this.
You're asking me to edit my baby? How could you?
Yeah, like I can't. It would be like giving my child a third eye. I can't do that. I'm sorry. Like, but yeah, I think that is a great mantra to have, of beating yourself, because I think we do feel like we've put our best self out there, but like you can always do better. And that is so important. Never like sort of settle.
Yeah, and when I say that, I just want folks listening to be clear, that to understand that, like when you are like, don't drive yourself crazy beating yourself. Like,
oh no,
you just know, like, if there's something that you excel at and you haven't met it 100%, then meet it 100% or beyond 100%. And when you are focusing on what you want to do with your life and what you want to accomplish, like, don't compare yourself to other people. Like, keep your got this from a movie. My favorite movie is one of my favorite movies is Head of State with Chris Rock, and they have this quote where it's like, like just run your race. Like, racehorses have the blinders on so they're not distracted. Like, run your race, put your blinders up, and focus on what you need to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard. It's so hard nowadays to keep yourself from looking at other people's races, but yeah, I think that is the thing. Like we all have our own paths, and we'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though video games as an entertainment medium generate significantly more revenue than movies and music, it still feels as though that there's this weird like stigma thing going on. I think everybody just has Roger Ebert playing in the back of their head saying like video games is not an art form, video games will never be art and stuff for some reason. And I mean, what do you think video games industry can do to help people to better understand the medium as a whole and the products that are created?
That's a great question. So I've always seen video games as art. I'm big on storytelling. I consider myself to be a storyteller. And so when I play a game with a really awesome story, like it hits all the feels.
Oh my God, completely.
And I think like, you know, we have different forms of art that have been able to tell a story. We have paintings, we have poetry, we have novels and like, movies and podcasts. And even, you know, I was with, you know, I'm not a D&D player, but I'm slowly being pulled into it due to my wonderful friend group. And you know, seeing them like tell a story out of that. And so I feel like it's art is always going to be a evolving medium. And I mean, in the next decade or next century, like who knows what's going to be like the next popping thing, but video games are definitely do fit in that category. Like you look at all the people that, you know, bear their heart and soul to make these visual masterpieces happen. Like that's a lot of hard work to tell a story. Like, you know, and they're the story and also some of the music, which I'll probably touch on later, from video games really got me into video games. Like one of my favorite video games on my list is Sly Cooper 2. I'm a huge Sly Cooper fan.
I love Sly Cooper. Yay! Oh my God. Oh, Devious Raccoonus. Yes.
That's my boy.
The sass. That sass in that game. I played that game nonstop.
So good.
Honestly.
Is
so good.
No, like if you I played one as a kid, and as a kid, it was hard for me. Okay, it was hard for me as a kid.
Yeah, same. That is not an easy game to play, especially if you're trying to unlock all the things. Yeah. You're trying to do like all the challenges,
all the clues and stuff. And when I got Sly 2, like it was a bit different, and then like. I loved like the art style of the cutscenes, and like I love the characters, but the whole story that you go through is like amazing. Like at the end, when you know, I mean, it's been like a couple of years since the game came out, but like you know, when Bentley got hurt. And then you're still able to play him as a character in the third game. I thought that was great storytelling. Like, cause you don't see it coming, and like, you really feel for these characters that you've been with. The twists and turns in Sly Cooper 2, like that really hooked me into like, you know, being obsessed with video games because it's just the stories they would tell, and they would suck you in that world, and you're a part of that world. You're in the story. You're making things happen. Like you are making art happen. It's an interactive experience between the creator and the person playing it. Like you both are working together to make art happen, which is super cool and super fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive fan of like the Final Fantasy games. I know I've said this like a lot of times on the podcast, but like. You know, it's those kind of things that you remember and just carry through. And like Sly Cooper is such a great example, especially because of the it's such a gorgeous art style. I freaking love it.
So
like,
good.
I could play that. Oh, I actually want to replay that now. But yeah, I mean, like, so was Sly Cooper what got you into what like got you into gaming originally? Was it what game sort of set you off?
So I have a younger brother. We didn't start playing games until I was probably like 8 or 10. Or I was probably 8 or 10. We together, younger brother. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
But I would go over like my cousins or family friends or like my godbrother's house and watch them play games. And I think I was over like a family friend's house and their son was playing Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
Oh.
And then at the time, our local grocery store had a video rental section. You can rent movies and video games, and like that was our gateway into so many things. Like we rented the Sly Cooper games and then Sonic Adventure games. And then, as the times went on, like that part of the grocery store closed. So since we were so cool with the person that ran it, they let us buy those games and keep them.
They did? That's amazing.
They were the greatest. So it was interesting. So I have a couple of like gateways and a couple of games that sort of like set me off. So my mom bought my brother and I a PS2 and a GameCube. And my first GameCube game was Animal Crossing, and I had seen it in a magazine. And I was like, yeah, sure, that looks okay. But then when I played it, I was like, this is amazing. Like we actually we couldn't stop playing on Christmas, and my mom's like, all right, guys, you guys get an hour each and then an hour break. You can't just be playing video games all day. But it was Animal Crossing and then the Sonic Adventure series and Sly Cooper. And
the music in that game, the music in Sonic Adventure is so good.
Lauren, like Sonic Adventure Battle 2 was my gateway to drum and bass music and rock. Like it's because of Sonic. I am a D&B and rock fan. So thank you, Sonic.
Have you played Sonic Forces at all?
No, I haven't yet.
The music in that is like, so Daryl, my husband, and I, like, we're massive Sonic fans as well. He's probably even more so than I am, but like my daughter plays Sonic. My daughter plays Sonic Forces because it was I think it was free on PSN or something. And like the music in that, we were kind of like watching her play it and thinking like, oh, this is a substandard. It has to be a substandard Sonic game because it came out now, but it actually is really good. So I highly recommend it. But yeah, no, continue though about like Sly Cooper as well. And yeah, that was, yeah.
Oh no, you're all good. So like those games really, like I would also play those games. I miss this, and I don't know if they still have these at like department stores or like Walmart or Target, but I would also, like, anytime my mom took us shopping, my brother and I would run straight to like the electronics section and play the video games on the demos.
The demos. Yes. Oh. Got introduced to the best games that way.
Yeah, like I don't remember because another big game that was big for me was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. We also rented that from the store. And that was like, because I was playing, my cousin had an N64 and he had Ocarina of Time, which like I of course I didn't know how to play as a kid. I was like, I'm just stuck in this forest and that's it. And I had no clue there was this big old world out there.
Hey,
right.
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, listen.
But when we played Wind Waker, I was obsessed with like the art style and the story and collecting all the things. Like I remember, I still have the guidebook preserved to this day. And I remember when I was a kid, I tried to bring it to church so I can look through it while the pastor was going. Mom was like, yeah, there's no way you're bringing that.
No.
But those games, like, it just invoked like a sense of adventure and fun. And like, to me, like, I think when I was growing up, I was kind of told from several people like, oh yeah, you should grow out of that. Like you should grow out of video games. But like, I'm really happy they're a part of me today because like, if you look at Sonic, you look at his attitude, you like listen to the songs or about his theme song, like how positive they are and how he's like, you know what, I'm going to do me. And like, I don't care what anyone else has to say. Like I'm going to, because I believe in myself enough. Like there are some like legit lessons in there to take away from, like, Sly Cooper was like, like he was, it was all about family. And, when he lost his biological family, he made a new one through a series of papers. And you have
with a hippo and a tortoise.
With a tortoise and a beautiful fox. I love Carmelita. Carmelita is one of the best.
My gosh, Carmelita is so queen. I love her.
She's so awesome. But and then Zelda was just you're Wind Waker, you're this kid and you go on this big adventure. You get to travel, you get to meet all like these deities, you get to meet all these beings. And me, like, being a writer and being a creative person and, into all that, I was just like, I want to be in that world. I actually have a replica of the Wind Waker that I found on Etsy, and I just hold it in the air sometimes and pretend to control the winds. I am that nerd, people. I am that much of a nerd.
That's amazing.
But yeah, like I just felt, connected to it. Like one of my favorite games is on that list is Twilight, Legend of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And every time I played it on the Wii, like I would tear up at the end, because the ending is you go on this adventure with Link and Midna, and all this stuff happens, and it's just so like emotional, and the music, like, so it's so many elements that brought me in and just didn't, it made me feel like, hey, like, look at all these creative worlds you can be a part of. And some of the games that I watched my godbrother and older kids play were pretty violent, so we weren't allowed to play T through M games until we were actually that age. So
yeah,
like we had to find like some cool E-rated games to play, and they did, and they have an impact on my life forever.
Yeah. I mean, like, what was did any game when you were younger, like, sort of make you sit up and take notice from, like, a cinematic perspective?
I would probably say Twilight Princess, because I also made Twilight Princess GMVs. And so, like, I would have to study the cutscenes and, like, know what happens in which scene or this scene. Just, like, the emotion and the things that went down. Like, you have that scene where one of the light spirits is talking about the fused shadows, and they use Link and Ilia or Ilea, however you pronounce her name. Don't kill me, people. But
it's fine,
right?
People, be cool.
Be cool, people.
Be cool.
And they use those two to show how the fused shadows work, and it's a really creepy sequence, but it's super cool. Or when you have Midna in the castle, and they save Zelda from being a puppet Zelda, puppet Ganon Zelda, the hybrid, and it's a really emotional scene, because it's that scene where Ganon is like reforming, and it's the three of them, and then Midna's like, I know what I have to do. And she brings up the few shadows, and the music starts playing, and Link does the slow motion, no! Even though, like, he doesn't, like, say no, but, like, he does the slow motion stuff to grab her.
Yeah.
But she teleports them before he can do anything, and she just has a look in her eye. She's like, I know, Link, I know, but you gotta go now. And it's just, like, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
It's a great cutscene.
Yeah. And you just feel you feel all the feels.
All the feels. All the feels.
All the feels.
It also makes for great drama when you're editing it too. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I used to do the same, honestly. Like, I always found, like, trying to find good quality cutscenes. Like, this is sort of like back in the day when you couldn't actually just use OBS in order to get your cutscenes and stuff. You had to, like, find people who, like, uploaded the game videos to websites in order to actually be able to do music videos.
Yeah.
I just have such fond memories of there's like one site called like Blue Laguna, and they had every single Final Fantasy cutscene that you could ever imagine. I think they're completely gone now. I think they turfed them out. But like, it was like, but I used to scope through so much content. I swear, like, and that really like kind of trains you for researching clips when you're putting them together for like a project like now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like I also used to edit Kingdom Hearts like videos, and
I love Kingdom Hearts.
The content you have to go through to look for a specific scene or clip, like, it is a lot. It's a lot. So yeah,
it is.
So that definitely helped me just sort of like knuckle down, be like, all right, we've got to go through these clips of work. No problem. I feel like I've done this before.
NBD. But yeah, no, I mean, well, I guess that's the thing. When you consider it, like it takes somebody like 60 hours in order to play through this freaking game, and you're looking for 10 seconds, and you're just kind of like, for frick's sake, when is this? But yeah, I mean, was there any game that so like when Kim came on, she talked extensively about like Mass Effect and how it was the first game that made her feel like a part of the experience, especially because for her, she could play a Black character, and it was that she was like a Black lead. And like for that was like incredible, because it was the first time that sort of situation would occur where she would interact with another Black character as well. Have you found a game like where you felt the same?
Honestly, when I think about that question, because I forgot who asked me that before, because I was thinking back, like most of the characters I've played have either been like anthropomorphic, like animals, or like or folks that have that look white or Caucasian. When I was a kid, when I played the original Animal Crossing game, the only way you could be brown was if you went to the island. But in order to get to the island, you needed a Game Boy, and then like the Game Boy to GameCube adapter, and so you would need to get all those materials and then get to the island, and then like stand on the beach to get a tan for like an hour.
Oh my God.
And I would do that relentlessly on Animal Crossing, and then I would call my mom like, "Hey, look, Mom, I'm Black. Mom, look, I'm Black." The sad part was like when you closed the game and you came back out the door the next day, you're like, "Dang it, I lost my melanin." So in present day today, I played Watch Dogs 2 when it first came out, and that was really fun. Like it was, I still play it today because I just love to cause chaos in that world. But it was awesome. Playing as a Marcus, and then his interactions with Horatio, who's the other Black character on like his team. Like there's this great scene they have where I felt seen as like a Black person just going through the motions of this world. They have this scene where Marcus and Horatio go into like this fake Google company, and the cutscene has Horatio works there, and they're playing like some sort of like plot there. Horatio and Marcus come in, they start talking all like almost like posh, like they start like code switching, but they start code switching like for fun. And I was like, "Oh, okay, guys, like I see what you guys are doing." And then like Horatio's boss comes in, and his boss is white, and he starts like softly threatening Horatio. He's like, "I know you're up to something, Horatio," and he puts his hand on Horatio's shoulder and makes him feel uncomfortable. And then Marcus comes and like nudges like his boss, and his boss is like, "Do you work here?" And Marcus is like, "Yeah, I do." And then after the boss leaves, like Horatio's like, "Oh, I can't stand that." And then before he starts to swear, like a woman walks by, he goes, "I can't stand that, but oh, hey Becky, how's it going?" And it was, I fell out laughing because I was like, "Dude, this feels real. This feels so real. I feel seen." And so that was the first game. And then when Animal Crossing came out this year, and you could choose your skin tone that wouldn't fade away.
I know. I didn't play Animal Crossing when it first came out, but like hearing that was the only way that you could make your skin tone darker, like that is astounding.
We went through some dark times.
Yeah.
But like, and now like just being able to have like a character that is brown and that is Black, and like I'm part of a Black girl gamers group that my friend made, and we only play right now. We're playing Among Us and Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But like we would, my friend would host like virtual hangouts, like, "Hey guys, we're going to have this thing on my island," and And then we would take pictures and I would show my mom. She's like, oh my God, there's a lot of Black people in this game. And I was like, yeah, like, so like, honestly, like that game, really spoke to me because it was, I could see myself, in the game.
Yeah.
And that really does make a difference seeing yourself, like those conversations, when it feels authentic, when it feels real, like it did in Watch Dogs 2, like that is monumental. That's really important because, if, there's that whole quote on whether like does art imitate life or does life imitate art? And I'm like, well, if you are imitating life, then study it, understand where people come from, how people talk, like how people go through things, like how people see culture, what their perspectives are. Like that's really important, and not everyone's experience is the same. And that should be the approach when you're creating environments and you're creating games like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like when Kim was on as well, we talked about the importance of having those people at the table, like to just be able to have a voice and give their own experiences as well, because like, who better to get new insight, or who better to offer new insight than somebody who's been through it.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, like, hell yeah to Animal Crossing for not making you tan yourself on a freaking island in order to get a skin tone that matches yours.
The Game Boy.
You had to get a freaking Game Boy, which, like that is just ridiculous. Which I didn't even have a game. I didn't have a GameCube or a Game Boy. I would have been stuck because my family couldn't afford that.
And you could even do it on the regular beach, if I recall. So like,
that's ridiculous.
So it's great to see how far we've come and how.
Yeah.
But we still have a lot more to go, and I know there are great organizations out there, making sure that change happens.
Yeah, like the voices on Twitter are becoming stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And like I love the new stuff that's sort of happened with The Sims, that like EA is finally like woken up and it's just kind of like, okay, we'll add the new skin tones. It's like, yeah, where were you like 5 years ago? Like, you can change the color of your dog. You can spray paint your dog neon. What the hell?
Oh no.
I know, wow. but like, no, I think that's so important, and yeah, hopefully they've learned their lesson.
See, I needed to play The Sims, and I didn't when I was a kid because I was already really addicted to Animal Crossing, and I was like, if I do The Sims, I'm never going to come out of this.
Yeah,
I won't come back.
No, you will have no life. Honestly, I've only just gotten into Animal Crossing this year because so like Daryl is really this is gonna sound really horrible, but he's just we never really get Nintendo consoles. He has a Wii, and that was kind of like the last thing. I think actually no, tell a lie, we have a 3DS as well. But like Daryl was a Mega Drive boy. Or Genesis boy growing up. So he was very much like the Nintendo consoles, blah blah blah. And I'm just kind of like, I don't care. I love Nintendo. I love PlayStation. I don't mind whatever. But this my birthday was coming up, and I just was obsessed with watching Animal Crossing videos and watching my friends play it. And I was just like, Daryl, I want to be where the people are. I feel like Ariel. I'm stuck. And one of my friends,
I want to see them dancing.
I want to catch a scorpion and get stung real hard. Like I wanted that. And so one of my friends, I think it was actually Deb Weaves, she was just kind of like, why don't you just get it for her birth, like get her a Switch for her birthday. And it came to my birthday, and he was just like, Lauren, I'm so sorry, but Switches are sold out, because it was this year.
No.
And the Switches had sold out, and I was just kind of like, it's okay, I'll stomach it. But like a month later, I kept checking one of the websites, and they had one. And I think what happened was that somebody returned it because it was the only one they had in stock in our town. And I managed to get it. So that is my story of how I finally got Animal Crossing. I've joined, I've committed, and now honestly the Switch is our favorite console. It's just gone. It's
I love it.
I mean, aside from PlayStation, love PlayStation still. Like, I got to get that out there. But like the Switch has been a magical addition, a magical side hustle game thingy.
I love it so much.
You know?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. But yeah, back to the questions anyway. That's slight segue. But your friend Mel.
Mel!
Yes. She had a question. She said, when writing different kinds of characters, is there a character archetype you enjoy writing the most? Like perhaps the dark, brooding, red and black hedgehog type character as a random example. Just completely random.
That's my boy. That, you know, Shadow is my boy. Lauren. Like, I love Shadow, man. He was my introduction into the whole emo phase when I was a kid.
Oh yes.
So I do write. I am an author. I wrote a book I self-published a book when I was 16, a fantasy book, and I'm in the process of reworking that. I also lead a writers summit due to the pandemic, and we've been going on since April. And so I really encourage folks to write, and whether it's a novel or a short film or a D&D campaign, we just come together to write. I do like writing those characters. I will admit, in my youth, in my nerd emo ridden youth, I was obsessed with those characters, and I think I wrote them rather poorly, and so now I'm thankful for fan fiction, because it'll definitely help you practice how to write people. Mm-hmm. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll just write person the same way. Either way, who knows? But
yeah.
But yeah, I really like. I recently started writing characters that are a bit more a bit more well-rounded, like still have the whole, like some of them have the whole dark brooding thing, but maybe like they like kids and they hate everyone else but children, or some other quirky fact about them. One thing I realized that I wasn't doing, which will sound weird when I say it, but I wasn't writing myself into my characters. And I know not everyone does it, but for me, like I was like, these are my characters. They live totally different lives and they're not related to me whatsoever, even though I made them. So one of my characters, I actually put in my struggles with emotions, like struggling with anxiety into my character, or struggling with depression, like within my character. And I was like, well, how can I spin this in a way where her emotions are related to like her abilities or what she does or how she interacts with people. And I really was a lot happier inserting myself and the hardships that I've gone through and not being afraid to do so. I realized that I wasn't bettering myself when it came to writing those characters. I wasn't being honest in the sense of like, I'm not putting myself in these folks. Like, and so now whenever I'm writing or building characters, I'm always thinking like, what's a piece of me that either is a part of me or that I wish was a part of me that I want to put in the character. Another archetype I really like writing is sort of like that super determined gung-ho character that's really chaotic, sort of like not exactly like Sonic, but like sort of like a hybrid of Sonic and probably some other character out in the ether.
Like maybe like Knuckles.
Yeah, because Knuckles would be that chaotic energy. Writing.
If you watch like Sonic Boom, of course. Yes. Like Sonic Boom, definitely.
Yes, writing. And Knuckles. We're gonna throw that and Knuckles meme in there. I'll throw that in for Mel. But yeah, or I'll write a character that is like super confident and honest with themselves. Like maybe they know they have a lot of work to go, but and a lot of things they have to do when working on themselves, but they're not going to let anyone tell them that they can't do anything. And I always think about those characters when it comes to my personal life. Like if I'm down or sad, or if I'm struggling with something, I'm like, let's be more like this person. But how can I be more like this person where it doesn't sound like I'm actually taking on a whole different personality, but I'm actually like, realizing that, this character that I made is also in me. So I have the potential to be this person. I have the potential to pick myself back up again, or to tell myself, like, you know what, like, screw this, we're gonna do it, or like I will legit listen to the Sonic soundtracks from the Sonic Adventure and Sonic Heroes original soundtrack to sort of help lift me up, like just to sort of put me in a different mindset, because sometimes you just have to get out of that mindset. You really need something inside you saying, like, hey, you know what? You got this. You need that. I mentioned before, I'm not a D&D player, but I do identify as a chaotic good. So you definitely need that chaotic good person, or whatever it is, and you're sort of saying, like, hey, look, like, self, like, you got to pick yourself back up again. Like, do what you need to do to regroup, but you got to do this, because that's exactly what your characters are going to have to do. Like, that's what you're going to have to write. Like, you can't just have your character stuck on something and then not get out of it and not learn something from it. And so, I definitely answer Mel's question. Yes, I do like writing those characters. I love the whole opposites dynamic. Like, you have the brooding character versus, like, who's paired with, like, a non-brooding, super optimistic character. And I will say, yes, if you couldn't tell by now, I was one of those people that wrote fan fiction, and I would definitely write myself with Shadow the Hedgehog being that person. Like, hey, Shadow, how's it going? And he's like, what do you stop? Like, what are you doing
just
here?
leave me alone. Yeah.
So yeah.
But no, I think it's good practice though. Like, I mean, it's hard really to sort of, like, you're always going to be embarrassed, aren't you? Like, of your older work. Like, my old AMVs were just absolutely horrid, but it's practice, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's like, it's your stepping stones to what you are today. And unfortunately, sometimes you will kind of blush at them. Particularly fan fiction. Oh my God. Yeah. I remember once I wrote one, because I was a really big fan of Lord of the Rings, and I wrote one that was about, like, it was basically a Mary Sue, because I really loved the hobbits, and I really wanted to be a hobbit, and so I wrote myself as a hobbit. But yeah, like, I think it's just a thing. I think it's amazing to be able to express yourself through something like fan fiction. And also, I mean, to recognize that, you hadn't been putting yourself into your characters. I think it's easy to do because we spend so much time observing other people, don't we? Yeah. But, like, to put it yourself in, you know what you've been through. Like, it seems like a no-brainer, but I think it is something that's it takes time for you to actually understand how to do.
Absolutely. And you're not alone in that type of fan fiction, because I definitely wrote myself as a member of Organization 13 in the Kingdom Hearts universe.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody was Organization member 14, right? Yeah. 13.5. Like, they could add another seat in there. Like, there's just a missing seat. But yeah, and then we did have one more from Discord, which was Taya, who asked, how often do you get to use your filmmaking and writing skills in your community outreach role? And what are your favorite things about being a community outreach specialist?
So thank you, Ty. That's a great question. So the way I transitioned from my role as a video editor into becoming a community outreach specialist, on top of my daily duties as a video editor, I was also in charge of our team's internal newsletter. And I converted that newsletter from the written word to more of a combination of the written word and videos. And so so I would go around the office asking people if they would like to be interviewed for their hard work, or if there's a project we can, put a spotlight on, and I am, at this point, I'm no longer afraid, okay, that's not true. I am still afraid to ask people for stuff, but this has definitely helped me gain the skills to just ask people outright, like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can we interview for this? And back before the lockdown, I would run around the campus and ask people if they would be interested, or email people, or just ask folks like, hey, like, you do all this cool stuff. Like, would you like to be featured in this issue? And it was really great practice, and it was really awesome. So on top of being the person that's producing the video, I also came up with the questions. I also interviewed the subject, and I also edited the video. So after I was done with my daily duties as a video editor, I would spend extra time. This would be either like before my day got started, or like after I was done with all my duties throughout the day, and by that time it was like later in the day, and I would put together these videos and show them to like the leaders of our department. And because of that, part of that was part of my ascension to that role. And so now I could chase people around and bug them full time. So that was that was
you have been given the power.
Right? If hopefully we'll get to meet in real life, but definitely if you see me at a convention or somewhere that requires that has an event, and if I'm part of the organization, you would definitely see me running around. That's pretty much been my MO since college. I just run around and try to get things done and try to get people on board. And so what I really love about it is that I get to learn about what people are doing, and I get to learn more through them. I get to learn more about the company. So I get to learn like what this person does, how that affects the product or the project that people are working on. I also get to learn about people's backgrounds, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a different journey on how they got into the industry. So sometimes people ask me, well, how'd you get in? Well, I got through the internship, but everything after that, that's up to you. Like that, you have to carve out that journey. There is no, for some jobs, there's like a guideline, there's like a guidebook, there's like a path, but most of the time there isn't a path. And, it sucks, but you have to learn how to be uncomfortable with knowing that there's no path, and you just have to make it as you go along. Just with the full faith and confidence that the path that you are making will lead you to where you want to go. So that's what I really enjoy most about my position, is that I get to, I'm making new connections. I'm connecting other people to other folks. I also do a lot of work in the diversity and inclusion field as well. And so I also use my position to get involved with our companies, like employee resource groups, employee networks, and to really use that to help propel the advancement of getting more underrepresented groups within the company. That is that's also been a real blessing to do, just being able to help people, or just inform people, or more importantly, help expose people from underrepresented groups that these opportunities do exist, and being that person to help open the gate for them in some shape or form is rewarding, because you're paying it forward. Like I do believe in paying it forward. If you're climbing the ladder, make sure that you are helping someone up. Make sure you're helping someone grow and ascend as well. Because we don't do all this alone. Like, we do all this together. Like, empathy is really important. Like, a lot of my job requires a lot of empathy. Like, I have to respect that people might be working a lot on one project, and I really can't hit them up right now. Or maybe something happened, and like I can't. I need to give them some time before I can ask them around again. Or making sure that if we do interview a subject, that they see it, they're okay with it, that we're representing them in a good light. If you look back on 2020, the main theme has been the lack of empathy. We have had so many things happen all over the world. you have people mad about not wearing masks. You have police brutality here in the United States. And you just have folks fighting over things that when you think about, like, look, this doesn't need to be fought over. Like, we need to have empathy. Like, that's so important, like, to understand people, to understand that, okay, maybe you don't understand the whole thing, but at least feel for this person, at least understand, or try to have understanding what this person is going through, at least try to become an ally, at least try to protect your fellow person from contracting a virus by putting on a mask. Like, caring for those people, like, that's not an easy skill to learn. Like, that takes practice. Like, we're all learning that. We're all learning how to practice that. And, that's just an important skill to have moving forward. And I feel like whatever you do, just make sure you have empathy for people. You have empathy for, even for folks that maybe you don't really agree with, which I know sounds really hard, but that's also a thing too. Like, it's just a lot. And so, like, I also really enjoy my job because I have made a whole lot of new friends within my company because of that, because we've run into each other, or we've interviewed them, or if they needed, like, hey, like, do you know who this person is? Like, can you help me connect to this person? Like, yeah, sure. Like, here's this person, you guys talk. You don't have to keep me in it, but, like, talk and move forward with your project. Anywhere where I can be of help to just help the people behind the projects at the company makes it all worthwhile for me. That was a lot.
I think but no, it is an incredible thing that you're doing, especially just considering, like, probably how you make people feel. Like, it just must make it feel so much more connected, because, like, I think that there are always unsung heroes at companies, people who you neglect for whatever reason. They work in an office that is maybe far away from everything else. What they do doesn't necessarily pertain to you and whatever. And, like, being able to give that type of visibility not only probably makes them feel amazing, but, like, also makes other people a bit more willing to, like, say, hey, like, I heard about you, like,
exactly,
let me just, like, I really thought that was cool, like, let me get to know you better. Like, I think that's more companies should definitely have that, if they don't already, to just connect everybody.
Absolutely. I think someone at the company called me, like, a professional hype man or hype person. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that, because
business card.
Yeah, I will go around hyping you up and saying, like, hey, you've been here a lot longer than me, or maybe you just got here and you're doing awesome work, and why not put a spotlight on you? Why not put a spotlight on this person? So that'll be my answer to that question.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And talking about diversity and visibility, it's important in all areas of the industry to reflect the audience and to bring new ideas. We've seen, like, numerous programs. I know these are more UK based, with Limit Break Mentorship and Code Coven, although Code Coven is kind of everywhere now, but they set out to help marginalized people to enter the industry. What do you think is the best way to make people more aware of these types of programs, do you think?
Yeah, so definitely spread the word. If you are working in the gaming industry and you are in a position where you can lift people up, learn about these organizations. Like, we have game heads here in the US, like there's Black Girls Code. There's so many. There are, there's game developers of color. There's a lot of avenues and opportunities that are out there, and people just, that are going to be flooding the gaming industry from all corners of the world and all different types of, like, walks of life. And so I would say, like, if you're working in the gaming industry, to, like, do your research on these groups that are helping uplift folks from underrepresented groups. If you can become a mentor, like, if you have the time, if you have the resources, become one. If you don't have the time and resources, but you know someone that does, like, tell them about it. Just really spread the word, because people are out here doing amazing things to help people get their foot in the door. I mean, you got Kim with, like, Sweet Baby. Like, that's an amazing organization. And so, like, one thing I really don't like is when people say, well, there's not enough talent from this group. I'm like, yes, there is. Like, there's tons of talent. You are probably just not out there looking for it. Like, it's out there. But sometimes, you know, I had to learn this at a very young age. Like, you have to, like, I had to look and, like, hunt down those opportunities because they were not available where I was from. And so, and then I was very fortunate to have people in my life expose me to different things about the world and expose me to different things about having a career and what to look for when you're getting a job, or even, like, how to present yourself, like, at a job fair. Like, my kudos to my mom, because I talk about this all the time to people, but she sent my brother and I to, like, these summer camps where we had to learn how to, like, write a resume, or how to learn what the difference between assertive and being passive and aggressive was, or how to give a strong handshake. Like, to this day, I still think I crush people's fingers every time I meet them in person. And I've had to, that's amazing. I've had to scale back on that, like making sure you give eye contact, knowing how to dress when you go to certain places, knowing how to present yourself. And I'm so thankful for those lessons at a young age. Because I know, you know, not a lot of folks where I come from, like, maybe had that same experience. And so I definitely, I was saying about, you know, making sure that, you know, you're pulling up people, you're raising them up as you're going up too. Like, that's really important. Like, I don't believe, like, you should, like, be like, oh, well, I'm going to excel first and then I'll help other people. Honestly, you can do whatever you want to do. But, like, for me, my philosophy is like, look, if I'm going up, then look, you're coming up with me. We're both going to go through together. Like, I'm not going to let you sit there and suffer alone. And if you find people that do the same thing for you, then that's awesome. And so my parents taught me that exposure is really important, that there's a difference between people in life, because it's all about like, were they exposed to this? Were they exposed to that? And then, you know, I don't think there's, like, a certain age you have to be exposed to certain, like, opportunities. Like, it can happen at any age, at any point in time. Like, I'm still learning about new opportunities about the industry to this day. But, you know, like, that was, like, very ingrained in me from a young age to always be on the lookout to learn how to network, and to, you know, get your foot in the door as many places as you can. But also, this is kind of my philosophy that I sort of developed myself. Like, no one told me this, but sometimes, like, going back to make your own path, like taking that sledgehammer, I used sledgehammer or Amy Rose's hammer, and just like paving your way and knocking down walls that are there to block you and discourage you and distract you.
Yeah. And I think having adequate Sonic references is so important as well.
Yeah, like, you know,
Amy Rose's freaking hammer. You bashed through it.
You know, she's bashing stuff.
But she's really chill though, as well. she's like a therapist where she's just like, I want you to express your feelings, but I want you to smash it with a hammer.
Right.
Brilliant.
So yeah, like if you're in a position of power, influence, and use that for the greater good of people, please. Please use that for the greater good.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, on that note, this is the end of the episode, and I just want to thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
So much, Mia, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun. This was so great. I love this. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. Anytime. And I just, I look forward to everything you do in the future, and future Sonic fan fiction, novels, novella. I want you to write the next Pride and Prejudice Sonic Part 2, you know, with Shadow as Mr. Darcy. That's it.
Be a perfect Mr. Darcy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll have
but
to.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll have to talk offline and exchange old AMVs.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't think any of mine exist anymore, but yeah, no. totally will do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I thank you so much, Lynn. I really appreciate it.
That's it for this episode of She Plays Games. Please be sure to follow Mia on Twitter at Mia G. Watkins. Also, if you want more episodes of She Plays Games, please be sure to subscribe and follow me on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube by searching She Plays Games, and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at She Plays Podcast. If you want to be on the show or want to nominate someone to come on the show, you can email me at sheplayspodcast@gmail.com. See you all next time on She Plays Games.